Hey everyone, your host Nick here, and you're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com. First, I want to remind you that we are a fully independent podcast, quite literally just a group of friends who have met once a week since 2008 to talk about video games. If you like our show, the best thing you can do for us is be active in our community. I recommend Discord. You can subscribe to our show, leave us a review on your preferred podcast service, or, if you're so inclined, bless us with your patronage on Patreon or Twitch. If you're new, all you need to know is this. We record these shows live every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central on Twitch, and the audio version launches on all podcast services on Friday morning. Patreon and Twitch supporters will even get the show a day early on Thursdays. But if you want to know more about any of this, about what we do, or find all the important links you need, simply visit us at 4playernetwork.com. And that's it. This is the only ad you'll ever hear on this show. So, with that said, thank you for listening. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome to the first presidential debate. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to 4Player Podcast. It is, what day is this? September 10th, 2024. I'm on a vacation right now, technically, so I've kind of already lost track of time. What episode is this? 809.
I believe 9?
809, that's it. Welcome to 4Player Podcast, episode 809. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Nolan Hedstrom.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? You can buy a disk drive for me for an additional $80.
Christopher
Additional
Guthridge.
$80.
We'll get there. Christopher Guthridge also joining us tonight.
Oh, this is... Yeah, I've been out of the loop all day. There's shit happening, right?
There is shit happening, and we are going to talk about it.
Look at the little grin on Chris Davis. He's red. He can't wait. Look,
Chris Davis
can't even hide it.
notes.
He can't hide it.
Jeff,
This is your moment.
Jeff Keighley called us all poor or something?
Yes.
It was getting awkward. He was like going off on these rants about the damn VR connector, you know,
Did he not
it's like,
just,
all right,
did he not
let it go.
No,
Now he's got something that's worth being angry.
Jeff, no.
I haven't really been paying super. Chris Davis, hello, welcome.
Hi, yes, I'm also here with my brand
Holding
new
up your-
koozie. Thank you, Crispy's mom, for this. This is very nice.
Loading us up with
Doozy.
more personalized 4-player swag. We got koozies this week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no,
man.
I don't. We're going to talk about the PS5 Pro situation here because that was announced today. But on the Jeff Keighley note, did he ever kind of like quiet down about? I would imagine the backlash to his comments on Twitter were pretty brutal.
I've had
Yeah,
Right?
he got ratioed to heaven back.
Wait. Would you say people took it poorly?
Yeah, that's
what?
Yeah.
What? I'm
Let's
sorry.
take
What
it
did
from
Keighley
Dumb
do?
fucking nepo baby like Keighley.
Keighley posted a list of because people were obvious the again. Let's just talk about it.
Let's just get into it.
Let's just dig in. The PlayStation 5 Pro was finally announced today, and it is expensive. And it what is
Can I say before we get to the price, just
How
a
much
quick
is-
short version of y'all have heard my rants when the PS4 Pro was a thing, but I still think it's the fast pass of consoles. and I think it's a horrible practice. Yeah, it's the fast pass of consoles because the bar for what is acceptable for the base model goes down once the pro version's out, and no one gives a shit because they market with the pro version. The critics review on pro versions. They make sure that critics have the models where the games run well, and all of a sudden people stop talking about how games like Control and fucking Cyberpunk and shit can barely run at all on a base PS4. I'm just saying, last time at least they had the excuse that people have 4K TVs now. These days they have nothing. This thing shouldn't exist, much less at what price?
$700, I think, is US, right? $699
with no disc drive.
With no disc drive, and the stand is
$700 and no disc drive
and no stand.
Wait, I don't even care about the stand. What are you fucking talking about?
You could buy a disc drive for $80.
Okay, hang on. All right, hang on. I'm gonna calm down a little bit because I haven't bought a disc game in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean,
so maybe it is time to get rid of the disc drive. But also,
fuck off with that.
I don't want GameFly to ever die.
Look. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot of the comments that you hear in these conversations and on like social media and whatnot. People obviously have very personal reactions to this news, right? Because everybody bases their reaction on like their own personal situation. So we're sitting here talking about like us who have PS5s who are now like, well, I don't want to pay $700 for a new upgraded system, but like, does that mean all of the games I'm going to be buying from here on out are just going to run shitty on this?
Well, you remember the promises at the start of this gen. The reason we needed to get new generation consoles because it's the 60 FPS utopia with no load times. They would both of them, Microsoft and Sony, wouldn't shut up about 60 FPS. Now, Dragon's Dogma 2 and shit, we're barely getting 30 FPS, if that. And or we got quality modes that run like shit, like Rebirth or whatever. I'm telling you, this seems insane. We bought their bullshit. I mean, not all of us, but I'm saying that was the company line back then. And now all of a sudden we have to have this to hit 60 FPS.
I would also like to add in that the American price is 700, the British price is 700 pounds, and the European price is 800 euros.
Prices are crazy. So back to the Jeff Keighley thing real quick.
Hold on, Brad. I have an answer for you. There you go.
It's great for an audio podcast.
Who is that? It's Paris Hilton.
Well, I'll tell you this, no one's fucking happy. Now, Jeff Keighley, we all know he's a fucking suit in disguise or whatever. Not even in disguise. He goes out there, he's tweeting about this fucking thing, and he posts all the prices of the PlayStations adjusted for inflation over the years, which that tweet did not go well. Lots of obvious responses to that tweet. Most people are like, well, add the cost of the disc drive. Look, man, first of all, minimum wage hasn't gone up in 15 years in this country. Crazy. Nope. 15 years, literally 2009 since minimum wage went up. But besides the point, consoles used to drop in price. They don't drop any price anymore.
Nope.
So he could post the price of the PS2 adjusted for inflation, but towards the end of that generation, you could walk into a Walmart and buy one for $99. You can't. The PS5 is still the price it was when it came out.
No, it's more expensive.
Except the digital version, which went up. And in other regions, they both went up. It's crazy.
This cost me $120 in whatever fucking year it came out. But $120
today.
That's two fucking games now.
Yes. It doesn't happen anymore. Also, Jeff Keighley, not only has been probably getting all this video game shit for free his entire fucking life, he's a goddamn Nepo baby. His parents run IMAX, okay? He should shut the fuck up. He should shut the fuck up. Yes, it is 1,000% true. So if you ever wonder why he got a TV show on television, fucking Nepo baby.
I guess at the end of the day, it would have just
royal. He's religious nepotism too, because he's the Pope.
Canadian.
It would have
Dorito Pope.
It would have just been more appropriate for him to keep his fucking mouth shut when it comes to this conversation.
Oh, he can't bring himself not to do that. That's impossible.
But he
thought he had a killer point, and let me tell you, it did not go well.
It did not land. He was ratioed to hell.
Oh my god.
We'll see. We'll see what happens from that point forward. So yeah, but like the actual hardware, like what the hell do they think they're doing here?
It's a bad idea, and it's gonna bomb horribly. Did y'all know that the PS4 Pro was not the leading SKU, even not even close last generation? I'm sure it was the same. I mean, Xbox is probably a similar situation, but I looked up the PS4 Pro numbers. After the Pro launched, the base model was still outselling at 3-1. And like the price difference was not even that huge, I feel like. And I feel like these days the disc PS5 does better than like a Pro model did. Like I think it's more like 1-1. Or maybe I don't actually know. But it's crazy. And don't forget, at the start of this generation, you can get a PS5 for $400.
Yep.
You know, and now the no disk drive Pro is $700, and it's.
I almost feel like
this thing is gonna bomb. It's gonna bomb.
I feel like the strategy here from Sony, and this is obviously just pure speculation, but I feel like they know this is crazy, and they're doing it because they know they're going to be forced to drop the price very quickly. But they're like, we'll get a certain number of sales.
No, they're not.
That happened with the PS3, right?
Do you think they're negotiating with us so it doesn't feel crazy when this thing ends up becoming like $550 or something?
No,
like,
the price is not going to go down.
The price.
The price is not going to go down. Sony just yesterday raised the price of controllers by $5 or $10, depending on what fucking color you got. Okay, like they've raised the price of PS Plus. They've raised the price of the base console.
Microsoft
everything's going up.
They raised the price of all the controllers.
Yeah,
the colored and the non-colored. All right. What was Crispy saying? Sorry.
No, I was just saying if they're
that's been happening in tech everywhere. That's go ahead.
No, I already said.
God damn it!
It's been happening in tech everywhere over the past handful of years since COVID. I feel like, or inflation, post-COVID, or whatever, where tech's just been going up in price for no fucking reason. Usually they would wait for like a revision, or new hardware to raise the price. But like in recent years, it's just been, actually this thing is just going to cost you $100 more, which I think is pretty unheard of. Like, is there any, like in the history of like tech, is that doesn't happen, right? Where it's just one day we're going to just start charging way more for this. That's a recent thing, right? Like the MetaQuest, right? It was the MetaQuest 2. All of a sudden, one day they were like, "Actually, it's not 300; it's 400."
If we're gonna treat the console market like phones, why are there not like trade-in programs? Like, why is Sony not like?
Sony's not gonna sell used consoles. GameStop will give you money.
GameStop has just dropped the value that they will give you for a trade-in of a PS5.
Dude, GameStop is on this.
Well, they usually juice that up a little bit right before the launch of a new system, right?
Usually,
because I remember my Switch trade-in for an OLED was like they gave me an insane amount of money for that.
They will. They will do that. And I will say this: the last time that I was in trading something at GameStop, which was sometime in the last 6 months, I was pretty surprised by how much money I got. Because I was not expecting much. And I ended up getting like 40-something bucks for like 2 games. And I was like, that's kind of unheard of, but whatever.
At this very moment, if you wanted to trade in a PS5
they were Japanese
disc,
games, those things retain value.
If you wanted to trade in a PS5 disc version, they would give you $350. So that's half of the value of a PS5 Pro. So you're still out $350 before tax to get this.
And before the disc drive. I feel like that's the craziest
and the stand.
Thing.
You don't have to get the stand.
Well, no, you do actually, because apparently the stand is not the same stand from the original.
It's different.
So you can't just
just lay it on its side.
You don't have to.
Or stand it up without the stand. I have mine.
Get a bunch of old
mounted on the wall.
Make a little.
And it doesn't need the stand.
You don't use a stand for your PS5?
No, it has its own mount. It's screwed into the mount that's on the wall.
Your PS5 is mounted on the wall?
Yeah, behind the television.
Fascinating. Okay, interesting. I mean, I have never heard of that, but whatever. That's okay.
I mean, people rack mount these things, so like, yeah,
Love a good rack.
yeah, you gotta love a good rack.
Nothing like a good rack.
So you gonna rack mount your hardware in your new house, Chris Davis?
Oh no, I
Run
don't have
the
enough
Ethernet
closet space
cables
for
through the
that.
walls.
I am doing that. I will tell you that.
Doing what?
What? You gonna run the Ethernet cables through the walls?
Yes,
Of course.
and I'm doing an HDMI run through the walls too. So
How does that work though? HDMI length, I feel like, isn't that a problem?
I mean, it's
If it's
$6,000.
if it's an active, no, that's the mattress. That's different. No, if you get an active powered cable, then it's not an issue of the length.
I don't understand why you're running an HDMI through your mattress.
Well, hey, look, I want to have the highest quality
has a
fidelity
screen under
mattress
his
possible.
pillow.
Okay.
What I don't understand is why do you have people in Egypt hand carving your bricks for your house? That seems a bit much, Chris Davis.
It's
And
not.
then they have to push them on like a line of rollers all the way to his house.
Oh no. I get all of my brick is personally handcrafted in Algeria. I don't do Egyptian.
He hand picks every brick.
Yes.
Oh my god. Okay.
They mail it to my apartment. I inspect each one and I send it back if I don't approve.
Oh man. Okay. Well, clearly we're done talking about the PS5 Pro.
No,
This
we're not,
fucking
because
sucks, right?
I have a bitching list to read off here.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Well, somebody's got to be the voice of reason, I guess.
Yeah.
Somebody
Leave it
has
to the
Slobbering all over
Xbox.
this thing.
Okay. First off, beyond the price here, this was just a bad presentation overall. You got Mark
I
Cerny.
didn't watch it.
It's a 9-minute video of Mark Cerny doing marketing. This is a man who's a very technical, very smart, knows exactly how to do a technical presentation on something. Like, you look at what he did for like an hour just on like PlayStation audio. They've now got him doing fucking marketing in a 9-minute, very cut down video. That's
So you're mad
bad
that-
idea.
You're mad that you didn't get to watch more Mark Cerny technical talk?
If you're going to give me a product that's cost me $700 to invest in before tax, I need to know more than just 9 minutes worth of content. They showed select
fair,
games that are all quite old, some of them 5 or 6 years old at this point. Only 2 of them are recent releases, and one of them is a new game, and that's a third-party Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah.
Their most prominent demonstration they did of all the comparisons in this video was using the fucking remaster of The Last of Us Part 2. Like,
That's
what
an
were you
interesting
doing
choice.
there? The
That's
presentation,
a choice.
his whole presentation was built around the concept of melding the 2 main graphical modes out there, fidelity mode and performance mode. Cerny came out and said 75% of their users on the PlayStation use performance mode. That's the one interesting metric that I caught there. But the whole presentation was about melding the 2, getting high fidelity with high frame rates, okay? How did they demonstrate this? He talked up ray tracing, and he showed inconsistent games showing those implementations. These showed Hogwarts Legacy, and it was running at 30, probably at best. Like,
In this presentation?
In this presentation, yes. Like, it was not a 60 frames per second demonstration. And that completely contradicts what he was talking about. The comparisons themselves, they used small windows to show off details that were not highlighted. So you're showing small windows on a compressed YouTube video. How the fuck is anybody supposed to tell what they're actually looking at if you're not fucking highlighting these things?
That's true.
Okay? The comparison shots just failed to demonstrate proper examples except for the ray tracing in Hogwarts Legacy and GT7, Gran Turismo 7, which they were showing off some of the ray tracing off the bodies of the car, but they were showing full frame gameplay. They weren't zooming in and really showing this shit off. Okay? And then all of them were just not uniform at all, and all the differences were just, they don't specify. Okay, another thing. pro-specific enhancements, of which there's only 13 titles for launch of this system, are voluntary by developers. There is some level of base enhancements for older games, including PS4 games. They said 8,500. Okay, that's just a fucking marketing number. There's no way they've done human testing for 8,500 PlayStation 4 games. There's no fucking way. Okay?
And isn't it using AI generated like upscaling?
So they're doing
as well?
Oh, this is my favorite part, okay? They're doing what's called PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution. PSSR, or as I like to call it, the pisser. The pisser.
He wrote all these notes because he's like, I got a zinger at the end of the
I gotta talk about that, yeah.
Hold on, pause. This is actually hilarious because everybody else just was like, oh, well, the price is stupid. Who cares about the rest? And you're all like angry about the rest, but nobody cares because no one's gonna buy it. But continue.
Oh, plenty of people are gonna fucking buy this thing. It's just not gonna sell out.
They're not.
No, I think you're wrong there. I think you're gonna get.
Not.
You're gonna get a handful of people who buy it, and then it's gonna like trickle off, and it's gonna stop until they lower the price.
So here's the thing:
14% of all PS4 sold were the Pro model.
Yeah,
this is gonna be way less.
Yeah. So the pisser is a large language model AI algorithm that digitally upscales games, from my understanding, from 1080p in performance mode to 4K. So it's not even native 4K 60 or anything like that. It is AI upscaled 1080p to 4K. All right? The problem I see here is that with an LLM algorithm, okay, that means there is some measure of internet connection required. But I've learned that this plays off the hardware locally on the system, okay? So this means that patches for games now have to include PSSR patch content per game. So that's just more fucking shit we have to download. That's
true.
So fucking stupid. And at the end of the day, look, this just reinforces the problem of fidelity over performance in game development these days. Developers and publishers are incentivized to not optimize for performance, but optimize for fidelity. That's why we have so many games these days still focused on 30 frames per second presentations. This is not the beginning of the end of 30 frames per second. The true future should be 4K. Realistically, it's probably going to be 1440p for the next generation, but this isn't the end of it. In fact, it's just going to be reinforced, and we're going to continue to get this shit.
Devs never cared about 60 FPS. Outside of like fighting games and racing games, it has never been like the standard devs have tried to hit. And it's mostly because games aren't developed that way. They're developed through all of development. They run like shit. And optimization is something that comes at the very end. And when you're trying to get your game going from running like shit to acceptable is a long way away from 60 FPS. Yeah. So you have to like design the game from the ground up to be 60 FPS, and they don't do that because they don't care what Sony's marketing speak was when they were announcing new hardware, just like they did in the generation before and the generation before and the generation before. 60 FPS has never been the standard. It will never be the standard until Sony and Microsoft and the other console manufacturers make it a requirement for cert. And until that happens, it will never, ever be the standard. And we should have known that. I mean, some of us did at the start of this generation when they wouldn't shut up about it. And people are so like incensed now. I can't believe this is not 60 FPS. It never has been. It never will be unless things change significantly.
Yeah. It's got to be at a policy level for this fix. So two more things I want to mention before I will shut the fuck up. A strong portion of Cerny's presentation was focused on ray tracing, and that's where they were talking the most about the enhancements going on beyond just a performance 60 frames per second quote-unquote update. The problem here is that ray tracing is still an optional enhancement in most games. It's not a base requirement for play. Most games, pretty much all games these days, still support baked lighting that's set and not simulated. So until ray tracing is the baseline standard functionality for a game, there's no real value there. And even then, like, path tracing is on the horizon. It's probably just a couple years out before we start seeing big games taking advantage of path tracing. So, like,
I mean,
you're playing up something that does not truly add to an experience, and just on a whole kind of degrades the performance overall. And one final thing is that the PlayStation 5, it's having a year, and it's not a good year. Helldivers did well. Astrobot is doing well critically, but Concord fucking failed, and it crashed hard after 8 years.
It sure did.
And hundreds of millions of dollars of development. Only sold less than $25,000, 25,000 copies, if that report is accurate. So, with them not showing off anything,
wait, their year's bad because of Concord?
If they're not showing off anything beyond this year, into 2025 and beyond, in the demonstration of this $700 product, I would feel, unless I'm the hardcore whale, that this is not an investment I want to make.
Nobody, and you just did the most, like, long-winded path to the same conclusion that we've all already reached, which is no, we're not. Nobody here is going. Nobody except for, like, the most.
No one ever buys the expensive one.
And that's when the expensive one is not even like this conversation was being had with the PS4 Pro, and it wasn't even as dramatic as this. This is way more, like, the fact that the disc drive is not included, the fact that the stand is not included, like, and it's already $700 is it's insane. It's insane. I can't imagine what the long-term strategy is here. I don't know if there's really any more to say. Like, this console might as well be irrelevant until they significantly drop the price.
Yeah,
There's nobody nobody's gonna buy it. It's not gonna be it's gonna account for, like, the smallest blip.
The price of
like,
any
stats,
PlayStation
you know what I mean?
device, any hardware device that plays games, is not going to go down until the next generation starts. I can guarantee you that. There's no fucking way.
You think they're just going to keep pumping these things out and putting them on store shelves at $700?
No, they're not even going to keep pumping them out. They're just going to stall production. Because, again, they're not dropping prices. They're raising prices.
If they make a certain amount. The PlayStation 3 was announced at, like, $600, but then after the reaction, they made a $500 SKU with a much smaller hard drive. That was not announced when they said $599. The 3DS dropped almost, like, months after release from, what was it, like, $350 to remember 3DS and
it dropped to,
when
like,
that launched, it dropped like $279,
something like that. Yeah. It was significant.
Like, there's precedent for that, but
yes, there is precedent, but that was Nintendo. That's not modern Sony.
What is that? Okay. Are you saying arrogant Sony's back?
I am saying arrogant Sony's back. I'm saying Jim Ryan got out while he still fucking could, so he didn't have to own this.
Arrogant Sony is back.
That's the name of our show. We've given Chris Davis his dub for long enough. We should move on.
Look.
It's not a dub. It's Sony an L for everyone.
Get that smile.
Arrogant Sony is back.
How does that green make you feel, Chris?
That is the title of our show, and it's also appropriate not only for the PS5 conversation. Let's shift gears. Let's swing the pendulum back in the complete opposite direction. Still Sony related.
Please.
Let's talk about Astrobot, because
thank God.
Sony sucks, and the PlayStation 5 Pro is terrible, but Astrobot is pretty fucking good.
Reminds us of all those Sony franchises that we love and still play to this day.
Wait, what? Is that where you're choosing to go? Look.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, Crispy.
I like it.
Wait, okay. The overlay says Arco, just by the way.
Oh, it does?
Chris Davis. Yep.
Why would you do this to me, Nick? God damn it,
Overlay.
You know, Nick, I have some opinions on this game.
Yeah? Tell me some
the
of your
controller
opinion.
is too damn loud.
Really?
I had to turn it down, dude. It's so fucking loud, man.
Yeah, it is really loud, but
I'm
it's
playing
sick,
with-
right?
No,
It's
it's
also
fucking
sick.
amazing. It's
Headphones.
just way too fucking loud.
Yeah.
I'm not playing with headphones, and so like I said, it got to the point where I was just like, all right, hold on, let me go in and just lower the volume to like 30%, and
Well,
I still
the reason they
hear and
crank that
feel
shit up is
plenty.
because I think like to really get like the perfect like DualSense feedback, you really do need the sound. The sound is a big part of it.
It makes a difference. It's one of those
It's
things.
like
It's like the whole
the
concept
tingles
of
with the sound.
it's that water company or whatever that sells. They don't sell water. They sell like a little packet that you sniff as you're drinking the water, and it makes you taste that flavor. It's that thing. It's like when you hear the sound while you're feeling it, it feels more real.
Is that a real product?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Look it up. It's a thing that exists.
What the fuck?
But it's the same concept. The smell is a big part of your taste, and obviously, likewise, hearing is a big part of like how you interact with the world. So when you hear something as you're kind of feeling it, it adds more to the effect for sure.
You know, on that note, one thing I've noticed, there's been several instances where where you like touch an enemy that like electrocutes you or something, or if you like step in lava or whatever, and like the noise that the Astrobot makes is incredibly startling. Like it's very loud, especially in my headphones. It scared the shit out of me on multiple occasions. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This, in this level that you're watching on screen right now, they did the raindrops. They brought the raindrops back.
The umbrella.
Still fucking magic. But anyways, who here's playing Astrobot? I know Nolan. I know Brad. Crispy, but the Chris's, they're.
I'll be playing it after I borrow your copy.
You're waiting for me to borrow my copy. Okay.
He don't support the blue, or he doesn't.
But
He's not a
well, yeah, he supports the blue, but he doesn't support the blue.
He doesn't back the blue.
He doesn't back the blue. He backs the blue, but he doesn't support the blue.
I could say something fucking terrible right now. I will not.
Don't do it. Just don't do it. This is Astrobot. This is pure and unadulterated fun. Let's just keep it at that. Like this. I mean, here's the thing, and I made this comment in Discord the other day when I had only played like 3 or 4 of the levels in the first world, and I was like, look, this game is fantastic. As Astrobot, just in general, is fantastic, but I was a little, and then also this was kind of on the heels of like I popped into chat, and of course Prince of the fucking Universe is like, oh my god, I beat Astrobot, I've platinumed Astrobot, and I was like,
have you heard since then what he's doing? Have you heard since then what he's doing?
What is he doing?
He came in yesterday and was like, by the way, I 100%ed Astrobot, and he's like, oh, but wait a minute, Prince. I thought you had already platinumed it. And then he goes, yes, on the second save file, and I'm going to do it for the third.
What?
Jesus.
What?
He's going to platinum the game 3 times in a row because he's Prince of the Universe.
He's got to lap us at least once.
Well, that's ridiculous.
No, I mean, like, medically, why?
but look, I saw the comment I made early on after playing very few levels was like, this is great. But like, I'm a little disappointed, especially hearing Prince be like, I already finished the game, already platinumed it. I was like, I thought this game was going to be much more. At the end of the day, I was like, this. I can't help but feel like this feels a little iterative. Like it feels like just kind of maybe an extension
derivative
no, iterative. Like it's just slight iterations on.
But also
on like the levels they did. Like there's levels in this game that feel like direct like sequels, quote unquote, to like levels that were in Astro's Playroom. And like and I was kind of under the impression this was going to be a much larger game. But here's the thing. Now I have spent probably 15 hours with the game, and I'm 100%ing it as I go. I have one world left to do. And I kind of take everything I said back because the sheer, I mean, like obviously they're taking the same approach that they took to Astro's Playroom.
It's the same gameplay and the same, for the most part, and the same concept, but they've definitely amped it up quite a bit.
Yeah, like it feels bigger. All of the ideas and things that were kind of like hinted at or like touched on in Astros feel like they've gone much further in this.
Turned it up to 11.
Yeah, they've kind of just turned everything up to 11. And it's just I can't stop smiling when I'm playing this game, except for every world after the first one has 4 levels that are particularly you can tell these are the ones, like these are the levels that mean business. These are the one like your instinct
the
like,
button levels, the
button levels, the ones that have no checkpoints, and it's just you have to do it in one run, and there's 4 per world. Those make me rage. Like I probably spent like 50 tries on one today, and I was like, I can't believe I'm this mad at Astrobot, because up until this, it's like every level up until you do those is like, oh my god, this is like just, it's so casual and just light.
It's just not about the challenge. It's more about the experience.
But they put these in to be like, by the way, we can also make this hard. If you want the challenge,
it gives me. So I've been playing almost all of I've played of this so far has been with Bernadette. She hung out with me a lot when I played Astro's Playroom. Same with Rescue Mission. So she's very familiar with Astrobot, and we've talked about that. It gives both of us vibes of Sackboy's Big Adventure, where it's like a lot of it's just kind of fun platformer, not that big, not that whatever, but all of a sudden, there's like levels out of nowhere that it's like, holy shit, like you have to fucking go ham to do this. And there were those kind of race course missions in Sackboy's Big Adventure, where you had to collect coins, and you almost have like a perfect run in order to get like the gold medal or whatever. And
underrated game, by the way.
Yeah,
no, great game.
And they've kind of relegated those levels and made them easier to like spot and identify, because like Brad said, they're like themed after the different face buttons on the controller. It's like one world has like there's 4 levels that are based off of the X button or whatever, and they all have kind of their own theme or whatever. But when you see those, you know those are the ones that are really gonna test your platforming skills. But like, so it's got kind of everything that a good platformer has.
So I think it's getting a lot of mileage out of it being like beautiful, colorful, it runs amazing. Like it's just a stupendous thing to look at, game feel, like fucking
it elicits
with the fucking controller and the sounds. But I will say, and I do think the game is amazing, and it keeps going crazy with the ideas. Let me tell you, I'm finished 2 worlds. And we will talk about the special stages, of which there are a handful. There is one thing I feel like I'm missing from it being like a goated, absolutely VR. Best of the best platformer. Well, I would love it in VR. I think this thing would rock my socks off in VR. No,
there's got to be a VR mode coming for this.
I think the control's perfect. Like, right, it feels good, but it doesn't have the tech complexity of, I think, the best feeling platformers. Like you know how like Mario at its best has all kinds of shit. But even especially in Odyssey, where he's doing like diving into like throwing his cap and jumping in the air and canceling a bunt stop into a dive so you bounce off the hat. Like it feels good to fuck around with all the tools that you have. And even in games where it's just simple, like just a roll that you can jump out of to give yourself momentum. I feel like there's nothing that Astro has that's that complex tech-wise to give you that kind of like momentum building, where it's just fun if you were in an empty room to move around. Astro doesn't have that, I don't think.
No.
And I really think mechanically is the only thing that is slightly behind some of the best of the best.
So I'll say it's not a mechanical issue. It was a design decision. And I agree with you that he's not a fast character. You're not doing cool Mario triple jumps into long jumps into spins, and it's not fast paced. I will agree with you there. And there are definitely times where it can feel like sometimes you're kind of like, okay, fucking go, man.
Because they're big ass levels, and you're like, I just want to get there.
Yeah, I would like, and I think it was similar to Astro's playroom, there is a hub space you can go back. It's kind of tied to the story. You can go back there and do stuff, and that place is fucking huge.
Awesome.
And like when you're trying to
world.
move around that place, it's like, oh my god, can I get like a fucking bike or like a fucking unicycle or something, man? Like it takes a while to get around.
It does. But like, what's cool about that hub level too that you mentioned? I mean, and they did this. If I recall, they did this kind of in Playroom. But
That's
like
what I just said.
Well, I but I mean, like, specifically the like you fill that space.
Yeah,
with
you're collecting things to add to that space so it grows over time. Yeah,
everything feeds back into each other really well. Like I love that the gacha unlocks the items that make the special characters do cool shit, and like those animations are just fucking hilarious, man. Yep. Just so, absolutely charming or adorable or
so to clarify
legitimately
that, so like,
funny.
So
you unlock special like from like classic Sony IP or even third party
well,
IP
think of it
that's
this
like
way,
famous
too.
for being on like a Sony console, right? Like those characters.
Well, yeah, think of it this way though, too. Like this I think is brilliant. They basically, like every level, they basically turned the stars from Mario 64 into collectible Sony PlayStation characters, right? So like you find like every level has like 5 to 7 characters, and when you find that character, you go back to the hub space and they populate the hub space for you, and then you go into the gacha machine and you can unlock items that are that are then given to those characters that are so like, for instance, you unlock Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2, and then you go in you in the gacha machine, you pull the lever and it gives you like a set of keys from like that are like the key of hearts or the key of spades or whatever, and it has a door, and then so you go and you see Claire Redfield in the world. She's now interacting with the door, and if you like punch her or hit her or whatever, the character it'll trigger an animation where she'll be like sorting through the keys and trying to open the door like she does in Resident Evil. But there's like fucking hundreds. There's fucking hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And like
shout out to
deepest
shout out to like, and we're not going to do too many of these, and I still think we should be easy about the special levels. Outside the first one, I will say it was great to see a couple Castlevania characters in there. You know, and like Richter Belmont, I'm like, oh cool, Richter Belmont. His item is a throne, and when you do his animation, he's got red eyes and he sits on the throne and he's evil looking because the Castlevania game that Richter's in that was actually on PlayStation was Symphony of the Night, where he was a bad guy. That's cool attention to detail. It wasn't just a random Belmont. They got evil Richter Belmont.
So much attention to detail when it comes to these characters.
They could have just given him. They could just copped out and given him a whip. It sounds like, but no, they did the deep
I mean, cut. Well, there are, and I don't remember what all the Castlevania characters get because there's like 3 different Castlevania characters. I know one gets a coffin, I think, and I don't remember what the other one is. But it could be a whip. I don't know. But there's so many, and then as you're in the worlds, you're also finding puzzle pieces, and then when you come back to the hub world, the puzzle pieces fill in, and they eventually unlock new things you can do in the hub space. One of which is like a garage that lets you paint your controller, which is what you fly around in. But the other one is a costume shop, and and then you start unlocking costumes in the gacha shop. So I'm running around as fucking Cat from Gravity Rush. Playing or Sly Cooper. I mean, sorry if that's a spoiler.
No,
it's
fine. It's fine.
I hear it goes deeper than irritating stick.
Wait, what?
Deeper than irritating stick?
Yes.
What is irritating stick?
That's a fucking deep PlayStation 1 cut.
It's a PlayStation 1 game that's kind of like a Operation where you're moving a stick and you're trying not to hit the sides.
I mean, there have been a few references in here that I was like, well, I don't know what this is. So
there's some deep cuts.
This must be a deep. This must
be.
So
can
we
talk about like the special levels, and we'll only mention the first one from the first world. But,
sure.
But like the last level you unlock in each world is a dedicated like themed level where you play as the character from that world, and like the mechanics become very similar. So the first one is Ape Escape, which you get a net, you get the monkey finder, and all the bots you're collecting are actually just straight up Ape Escape monkeys.
Yep.
And it's
funny
cool.
they're not. They're actually still bots because if you like hit them off to the side,
their heads
head comes
off,
up, and so you can tell that it's just a bot, which is clever. But yeah, no, it's pretty good.
It's such a good deep cut. I mean, it's not a deep cut. Ape Escape isn't like unknown, but
yeah.
So as Asobi is a like dedicated studio that was within Japan Studio, and Japan Studio is responsible for the Ape Escape series. But also when Sony shut down Japan Studio, the remnants what they kept alive was just Asobi, and the people who were who stayed on went to Asobi, and they're kind of like Japan Studio like reborn, honestly, in a sense. So it's cool to see like Ape Escape get such proper like representation, knowing that. And
so and these special levels we're talking about, we're not gonna say specifically what the other ones are, because part of like what's amazing about this game is like discovering that for yourself. I will say this without saying what the game is. I got to one today when I was playing, and I was like, I have never played this game. After playing this level, I was like, holy shit, I kind of want to play this game. Like the actual game it's based off of.
It's a shame you didn't say that about Ape Escape though, because Ape Escape.
No, I mean, I have played an Ape Escape before, but not like finished it or anything. I am at least familiar enough. I have never touched a controller with it for this other game, and like I didn't even really know. If you were to ask me what this game is, I don't know if I'd really be able to describe it or tell you what it is mechanically. And I feel like I kind of understand it better after having played this level. I'm like, I feel like that says a lot about how it's designed. I feel like it's kind of an amazing love letter to Sony's library, and like that's the kind of effect I'm sure they're kind of going for, right? Like to kind of make you interested in playing all these fucking games.
It's also a nostalgia fest. We
talked
about that the other week.
Yeah, it is also a nostalgia fest.
Big factor. But besides those like, themed levels and stuff, just the abilities you get in the regular levels are still very fun. There, every once in a while there'll be one where you get an item that either changes how you traverse the level or changes how you interact with enemies or objects in the world. It's very reminiscent of the things I liked most about It Takes Two, just that it keeps feeling fresh. Like all the levels, there's some fresh mechanic or way that is an addition to how you're interacting with things.
Since it's in the footage, so it's not, we can't really keep this a secret. It's this one, like for instance, they give you a thing that lets you slow down time for a hot second, but then the way the way they tee things up for you to use that, so creative. I'll look at something and be like, no, they don't really. That's not really what they're going for. Oh my god, it is. It fucking works. It's so cool.
Henry was losing his mind over the shrinking one.
Yeah,
he just could not believe it. He's like, oh my god, let me play.
That was like
our rule is that he can play on the second time to clean up collectibles.
Nice.
Otherwise, he's got.
And I do like this. Speaking of the cleanup thing, I like that they give you the option to kind of buy an assistant.
Yeah.
Well, no, you buy that the bird or whatever.
The bird
that allows you to kind of it'll alert you when you're near something you missed.
That is how
the Lost Galaxy secrets are pretty tricky to find.
Yeah. It's making the platinum feel much more. That bird is the only reason I'm like, sure, I'll platinum this, because they're teeing it up and making it easy for me to do it, and I do genuinely want to see what all there is to find and explore in this world. So why not? So I'm just like, every level I basically play twice. I play through it, I get what I can find naturally, and then if I have the coins, I buy the bird and I run through it. And
and I will say it's changed how I play the levels, because I used to spend a whole lot of time, checking every single secret and corner and stuff like that. Now I've just kind of started going through the level. Yeah, I'll look around a bit, but I don't spend as much time as I used to. Finish the level, and then I can go back. If I want to buy the bird thing, I can. I have a little bit of an idea, because you can, which bots you've missed. I got the first and second, but not the third, but I did get the fourth, so I kind of know maybe around where it is.
Yeah.
But 200 coins. It's like, well, you get way more than that. I mean,
and the coins are
you also want to use the coins in the gacha machine.
Yeah, the gacha machine makes the coins super important. So now I'm like, I'm thinking about the platinum, and I'm like, fuck. I could get everything in this game, but I'm still not going to have enough coins to get all the stuff out of the gacha machine, which is I'm sure is required to get that platinum. So like
Well,
every time I find coins, I'm like,
you can farm coins.
Oh yeah, you can definitely farm coins. I'm just saying like sometimes I think about, I mean, they give you extra lives in Mario, obviously, right? But like this is a much more like tangible, like coins means a lot to me in this game, and I don't really find myself thinking about coins a ton in Mario unless I'm like
some Mario games they figured that out, but you're right.
But like unless I'm like running low on lives and I'm getting close to a game over, I don't really think about coins very often. In this game, I'm like, I could either buy the bird to help me find all the collectibles, but I could get 2 things out of the gacha machine for the price of this bird. So like it's everything, like you said, everything kind of just like loops back in on itself in really interesting ways. Also, I bought a bird once to help me find it and didn't realize that the hidden thing that I missed was in the flight section when you're coming into land. Sometimes they hide things in there. So like, but you don't get the bird until after you land. So like I was running through the level and I was like, where the fuck, the bird's not telling me anything. What did I get this, what did I spend this $200 for? And then I restarted the level and I was like, oh my God, it's in the flight section. God damn it. And I just wasted the money. But yeah, man, what a game.
It is. What a fun. Quite a game. Now, is it a 95? Maybe it's a 93 in disguise. But, I've been saying for a long time that when it comes to like taxes and bonus points and all that jazz that people eye roll when I talk about, the timing was right for this one. The narrative was there. I feel like the industry really needed a game like Astrobot, and it was rewarded for it.
It is. I mean, I Astrobot is just it's giving
because
me
I will say the VR game was absolutely deserving of like similar scores.
Yeah, that's true.
It really is. It really is one of the best VR games out there, and it is no less of a game than this is.
Oh no, definitely
it's
not.
Extraordinary. Maybe Playroom, what really was just kind of like more tech demo. It had neat ideas, but it did kind of repeat them. But like, this is the level that this team plays at. So don't be too surprised that they.
What I will say, no, for sure. What I will say is and I was kind of when my friend was visiting the other week, and I was telling him about Astrobot. I was kind of having the conversation that every Astrobot game has, for all intents and purposes, always been a tech demo. The first one was showing off the PlayStation camera and the DualShock 4. Was that what the PS3 controller was called? DualShock, whatever the PS3 controller was with the light bar or whatever, and how you can interact with it and stuff like that.
The 6-axis.
The 6-axis. No, the 6-axis.
Oh wait, PS4. You're saying PS4.
The PS4. Yeah. PS4, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was showing all that off. Cool, whatever, neat stuff. Then they came out with Rescue Mission, and it was showing off the VR. All that's cool stuff. And then they came out with Playroom, showing off the DualSense. And everyone has always taken, like, I feel like it's a letter to other developers saying, look how much fucking cool shit you can do with this tech if you put your mind to it. And like it really, like you said, the VR game is a fucking amazing VR game. The things that you did in Playroom with the DualSense, it like I was saying it the other week, my friend was visiting because he had never really played with the PS5 before. When you pull those triggers, it's like, holy shit, there's so much resistance when you're trying to do it's incredible. And similarly, this game it obviously we know it's doing stuff we've seen before, so it's not brand new. But they have, like you said, they took something that they had gotten to a 9 or a 10 and they cranked it up a little bit more. They're like, hey, you can still do cool shit without having to get a brand new peripheral or system.
The sad thing, based on what you just said, about how it's like showing off like what you can do with the tech, which is absolutely true. It's just how little other developers have followed suit.
I mean, there's very little incentive for a developer that's third party to actually go through that work.
I feel like VR was a little bit different because the very nature of VR kind of requires you to find creative ways to make gameplay around the tech. But like something is like a controller, at the end, like I feel like a lot of developers are just like, yeah, we'll add some rumble, some nice rumble or something, but like you don't really need much. And like we'll use the voice coming out of the controller, which is neat, but like the number of ideas just that are included in, like, it's even like a single level of this game is kind of staggering.
Yeah. That's what
so
I've heard.
I don't know. If I want to, after playing this, I'm like, I just want to see more developers take notes from this, and just in terms of, like, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to, like, load up everything, but, like, find, like, if I feel like every game should have, like, a thing that's unique.
Well, here's the question I feel like we need to end on is, does this game actually, like, move the needle for Sony? Like, does this thing sell so well? I mean, obviously the word of mouth is there and the critical response is there, but it's still not like the type of game that does numbers for Sony. All right. Like, you know, they've had like the PS5 launched with Ratchet and it only sold like a few million copies, which is not like bringing in Helldivers money. Sackboy was kind of a bomb, you know, and that's a good game with similar energy. It's not quite this level, but like it's suggesting that the audience doesn't really like super care for games like this. So everyone's talking about like, oh, this is what Sony needs, this is what the industry
I want to
needs.
wait and see what the MPDs say after like a month.
Sure, and it is gonna get a bump because again, people are buzzing about it. But you know, we're living in a world where, you know, 2, 3, 5 million, 6 million isn't doing what these companies want necessarily. So
yeah, but these companies are making unrealistic expectations of games.
I mean, sure, but if the expectations are set by a game that people play forever and spend money on forever, and you know, then the expectations are based on things that exist. So like, you know, Concord failed. Do you think Sony's gonna stop trying with service games? No way. No way. Because an Astrobot is not going to, you know, pay for the fucking R&D on the next console or whatever. It's just not.
I wonder if the Concord, what's it called? The controllers for Concord will. Because I'm pretty sure they sold more of those than they sold
cool looking controller. Right?
It was actually a really cool controller. The controller's cooler than the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd probably rather have that than the Astrobot controller. Astrobot has those white sticks, man. That's gonna be dicey.
Yeah, they are gonna get dirty. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but you know, the Concord controller just looks cool. You know, it's kind of just got like it's kind of like the Starfield controller. It just kind of has a futuristic-y look to it.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Okay. Well, how are we doing on time?
9:30.
What are we? Okay, let's take a quick break. Oops, sorry, I bumped my microphone. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Crispy, I want to talk to you about Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, that's right. Here, Nick, let me ask you. Can you give me a little bit of time to talk about Shogun before the break in the Crispy game? Because, you know, at that point we're pushing it so far back it almost might as well not even exist. I might get bumped like a Letterman or something, you know. Just let me talk about Shogun real quick.
You are just okay. All right.
I'm what, Chris Davis?
I mean, it's a pretty cool looking game from what I've seen.
The reason is I don't think I got much to say. There's not much to it, and once you see it in action, you'll be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. This is a tiny game for once." From Brad, even though you think all my games are tiny, insignificant games, Nick.
I didn't say. What are you talking about?
Shogun Showdown is out of early access. This is one I've been eyeing for a long time since it's been in early access because I thought it looked sick, and like Steam reviews for the game in early access were like super positive. This is a game I probably would have tried to draft if I had room on my roster, but I don't. Anyways, came out early access. I picked it up. Sure enough, it's sick. This is a side-scrolling, turn-based, kind of into the breachy / deck builder roguelike-y kind of game, right? Yep. But it's side-scrolling. But the thing is, you're a like a samurai type character. It's Shogun Showdown. There's a lot of different classes or whatever, and you play like ninja and samurai, those kind of characters. And Have you ever heard of the game? Carlos like goes wild for it. One Finger Death Punch. Like they've had these side scrolling like one button games where people are coming from both sides. It's like that, but turn based Into the Breach style, where you see everything that's going to happen in the next turn, and it's more about reacting to what you're going to do. And that's also like Slay the Spires, like, right? Where in that game, okay, well, they're going to do this much damage, so I'm going to throw out this much block and like do these other things and attack back, right? But this game is all about like, this back and forth and this movement, and you're like, enemy's about to attack, so you're going to like jump in front of him so he hits the enemy behind you, and then you've queued up an attack to where you're going to slash a sword in front of you, which kills the guy that was behind that dude. And then when that guy's dead, you're going to launch your arrow to like kill the guy at the end of the stage. And you're like triggering these like,
it's a lot about setup. Yeah.
Yeah. It's about setup.
The strategy and the thought before you just take an action. It's about planning it out. And
and it's like perfect design for this like theme of game where it's all about, think about like samurai squaring off, and it's all about, they're going to do that EI slash, and they're gonna fall. The other guy's gonna fall on the ground as the samurai sheathes his sword. It's that sort of samurai fantasy, if you will, and it's like perfect for this type of game. And like that's the game. It's sort of like building up and like leveling up these abilities through like your typical roguelike things of randomization and like upgrading abilities, reducing cooldowns, stuff like that, and kind of really building an arsenal that lets you really just kind of dance amongst the enemy attacks. Because towards the end, and I did finally get to the final boss, you just get wave after wave of enemy, and you're just like, it's all about like managing all these guys coming at you, and it's got a cool look, and like it's just a perfect, like, it's a very simple roguelike, but like they hit all aspects of it perfectly that you just start to vibe with it. And at first it seems like a lot. It's like, you're taking a lot of hits. Like, I didn't have to like take that hit. And it can be awkward at first, but when you get into like that turn-based zone, there's a turn-based zone, Nick, for us turn-based nerds. There's like a flow state, a turn-based flow state, if you will. You just start feeling like a badass. You feel like a badass. You feel like you can't be touched, and it's cool.
I do like
cool
games
game,
that make
cool
me feel
idea
like a
for
badass.
a roguelike. Yeah, but I mean, not because he has like a hood. You know what I mean? This is more, you can't fucking touch me. I just destroyed this whole battle without getting touched, and I'm smart. It's cool though. I really like it. It's addictive as hell, as these kinds of games can be. But I think just like the very like simple concept, like very quick play nature of it means it's super easy to like start up a new run when you inevitably lose. And just to end, the only complaint that I have is it is a game. And think about it, right? Like a game where, you're just trying to dodge hits because you only have so many pips of life, and it's pretty easy for it to go bad pretty quickly if you're not really kind of planning ahead your moves because you're queuing them up. Where a wrong button press can like destroy your run. And
does that happen a lot?
So, but it can, right? Especially because you tend to spiral in this sort of game, this sort of like roguelike where you only have like so much health. It sucks that because there's no like confirmations, right? Like you're pressing buttons to like turn around, you're pressing a button to move, you're pressing a button to do your attack. If you fuck that up just because you just fumbled the controls, you pressed the wrong button because you weren't thinking or whatever, or your brain wasn't attached to your fingers at that particular moment, it could in theory kill your run ultimately. And that's frustrating. I played a roguelike late last year called Core. God, what the fuck was that called? Not Core. Jesus, the one that was like FTL, the turn-based FTL with the spaceships. What the fuck was that game called? My God, I'm blanking. And it was a similar kind of thing where you're kind of moving out of the way of incoming fire, and if you accidentally like pressed the wrong direction, it could like basically spell the end of like your whole run at harder difficulties. And this feels like that too, and I kind of fucking hate it. Cobalt Core.
Core.
That's
right.
I talked about it on the podcast, which is another cool one where a single button press with no confirmation. It's a lot in a roguelike, but is what it is. I guess action based roguelikes can be like that too, but it sucks when it's turn-based. Anyways, that's the only issue I have. This game is cool. So Shogun Showdown, I think you can get it for $15. Might even still be on sale, launch day sale. Super cool. Great on a Steam Deck. I really wish I had it on my phone though. This feels like a perfect phone game. It really does.
Perfect pooping game.
Maybe eventually. That's all.
Cool. All right.
I'm just staring at this. Oh, no. See, I was looking at the footage and I'm like, why am I just staring at this boss doing nothing? It was because my Steam Deck is on with the actual game. I confused it for the footage. I'm an idiot.
You said it, not me. All right. Now we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Crispy has played a lot of Star Wars Outlaws.
A lot, right? Look at something the name of Cobalt Core. I'm just saying. I wasn't.
Fucking hate you, Brad. Let me get through this. When we come back, Crispy's played a bunch of Star Wars Outlaws. We'll finally have a chance to talk to him about that. Chris Davis, I think you may have a game, right? Peglin, you've been playing. You want to briefly
talk
mention
about
that?
it? Yeah.
Oh,
And then we'll wrap up with the 4-player minute. So if you're watching us live or listening at home, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Let's talk about it. Let's do it. We were talking about Star Wars during the break.
Let's talk about it.
And Crispy, you played a bunch of Star Wars Outlaws?
Yeah,
you were farther than I was last week, so I assume that's
something like 30 hours. I'm about to go into like the end game part.
Cool. And we haven't had a chance to talk to you about it yet. I'm still about where I was last week, so I was like, I'm gonna.
How much did you
get
play?
through I'm still on Tashara. I'm like 10 hours in, maybe 8, closer, maybe a better, safer estimate.
Have you at least gotten far enough where they're like, go recruit everybody?
No.
Come on, Nick.
I know, which is
10
crazy.
hours, really, and you're not that far. That's crazy.
I mean, I
do slow plays games,
especially if it's an open world game. I don't think I slow walk. I slow walk through areas intentionally that I don't need to slow walk through.
You motherfucker.
I don't fast travel. What do you want me to?
Nick loves the RP walk.
Does this game reward picking a direction and walking and seeing what you'll see, that kind of thing?
It can.
I mean, not.
It can.
It can. I mean, there are games that do it.
What you're gonna see is a Far Cry style base of bad guys that might have shit in it, that you can loot.
Yeah, and Crispy can obviously attest to this way more than I can at this point. But the sense that I've gotten with the limited amount of time that I've played so far, I'm obviously in my head, I'm comparing it to a lot of the other open world games that I've played and I love. Days Gone being a big one. And I think both of those, this game and Days Gone, both do a really great job of creating a sense of place. But in Days Gone, I feel like you can just kind of walk into a direction and find.
Well, I also think okay, so another reason why that question maybe isn't super helpful. I mean, it's just you exist in the world in a different context, right? Because there's no wilderness per se to explore. There's just these large areas of the planet that are already carved up by these different factions. And what the game kind of revolves around is your relationship to these different factions. So picking a direction and going into it means you're eventually going to be stumbling into a faction's territory, and your relationship with them could mean nothing happens and they're totally cool to just let you walk around, do whatever you want, or they are a kill on sight, we don't like you kind of relationship. You know what I mean?
And you're constantly kind of moving the scale.
Constantly. So you can't make everybody happy. You can't play.
You can it's not that you can't make everybody happy, but it's that everything you do is gonna piss somebody off. So it's all about balancing that. Like you have like these relationship meters for all of the 4 factions that you can affect, and most jobs or like intel or things you do are going to make somebody happy, usually at the expense of another faction. But if you're like in excellent standing with one faction and you do a job for a different faction that you're in poor standing with to try to raise that standing, and that job you do puts you, like negatively affects your standing with the faction that you have excellent standing with, then you might end up in a wash situation where at the end of the mission you're in good standing with both of them. You know what I mean? So
that's good. Like it would be cool for a faction-based game to be more like a Civ game where you can just, not have enemies, not go to war with anyone. You've talked your way into making everybody happy.
Partially for just like story related reasons, because like things you do in story missions also kind of affect these rankings.
Right.
That's
in the main story,
possible, but
the main story eventually is kind of centered around like recruiting a team, right?
If it's possible, but the main story is built around you basically being coerced into pulling a heist, and to do that you have to recruit a bunch of these dudes, and then once you have these dudes, then the story is about setting up the heist and doing that. Yeah.
Are you enjoying the story? Because I feel like I'm still not far enough to really,
honestly,
have an opinion either way.
Listen, man, I really like this game. Like, I think it's cool.
Awesome.
I get some of the negative criticism. I've read a lot of like the negative reviews. I feel pretty confident in saying 40% of the criticism I've read is legitimate skill issues. Like,
wow. And the other,
I hear
60% is people
about shit. About
her face or something weirdos.
Well, no, the rest of it is like legitimate. Like these things are kind of buggy.
There was a patch today, by the way.
There are certainly bugs. Like there are definitely bugs. It's not unplayable. It's not like a horribly broken like console experience. It's not like playing Control the first week that Control was out.
Yeah.
It's just, it is what it is. I think some of the friction people have felt is that like maybe they don't realize that this is an Assassin's Creed game.
Mm-hmm. Like, it isn't, or it is?
It is. This is very much an Assassin's Creed game.
I mean, are you saying this is an Assassin's Creed game or it's a Ubisoft game? Or are those two things hand in hand for you?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like, it's that thing where like Disney has contracted Ubisoft. I don't ever know how to say that. Ubisoft, whatever.
It's Ubisoft. It stands for ubiquitous software.
Ubisoft. I know. Whatever. But they're like French, right? So isn't it Ubisoft? I don't know. Ubiquitous.
Like we're offending people.
It's like they went to these people who made Assassin's Creed and were like, make a Star Wars game, and then these Assassin's Creed people said like, okay, we'll make Assassin's Creed and it's Star Wars. Like,
no, they didn't go to the people.
That's a good idea, honestly.
It is, and I kind of like it because like you are a thief. So, like, your skill set, the things that you're good at, if the things that you lean into gameplay-wise are all, like, sneaky thief things. And people keep talking about, like, these like, auto-fail stealth sections.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that, like, it's not don't be seen, it's don't let them raise the alarm. You can literally, like, go into a room and just, like, be as loud as you want, as long as you sabotage the alarm first.
Mm-hmm.
It's
more
not
like a Metal Gear kind of stuff.
I think there's also a weird. Like, there's like a certain expectation.
I'm like actually getting really like I've got enough practice with the systems and enough like unlocks of like upgrades and shit at this point that like going through stealth shit is like very fun. Like I am kind of just like taking people down in a very systematic way, and it's very fun.
I like her contextual takedowns too. They feel nice. And honestly, I just love using them. I love using the blaster. Like I don't know why.
The gun, someone in chat said the gun is kind of shit, and like, yeah, it is. I mean, you
Really? I
upgrade it.
dig it.
No,
I
I'm not saying, I don't think it is that shit. I think it's like, if you're trying to run and gun, you have to shoot a lot of, like, especially tougher enemies, like 3 or 4 times to kill them.
Right.
Except, what you could be doing, what you should be doing, what I've been doing, is, I've been specking into, like, gunslinger stuff, so, like, I have adrenaline buildup really high, and usually what I will rely on is the stun, like the actual stun setting. Like, that stun thing, most enemies you hit it with that, takes them out. That's it. Like, one hit takes them out. And then you fucking do a quick draw, boom, 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 boom. Like, oh, it's fucking legit, man. I don't know.
Nice.
You got thermal detonators?
You got thermal detonators. You even got, like, smoke bombs. You got, like, ion smoke bombs. You can, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's fun.
One of the things I talked about last week, Crispy, maybe you can elaborate on this more, because I was trying to explain it, and what I think is really neat about this game is kind of like the way the skills are linked to building relationships with specific characters and like doing satisfying conditions for each of those characters, as opposed to like having skill trees.
It's like the people that you're recruiting for the heist are like, they all have there's like the droid smith, there's the munitions expert, there's the hacker, and they all teach you like different like upgrades for your different skill sets. Like,
and you unlock skills associated with their specialty by doing things that they would, I don't know the best way to describe this, doing things that they would appreciate, or like, and I used this example last week, but like there's like Nyx is the little creature that follows you around or whatever. There's certain skills associated to him, I believe, and you like one of the things you unlock is like by finding 4 ways to make him happy, and it's like it doesn't tell you what it's like. I don't know how to fucking make him. I'll pet him. One that checks one of the 4 things off, and then you do certain things, and once you hit 4, the skill associated to that task unlocks, and now you have a new skill. And like all the skills, as far as I can tell, seem to be built on kind of that same principle, and I think that's kind of a neat way of doing it. And also, to go back a second, because when we were talking about kind of just this game versus other open world games, I was thinking about it a little bit, and as far as because if you walk in a certain direction, are you going to find something that's interesting? And I'm thinking about it in a different sense in this game, because the thing that you find, and I think this is okay, I think this is fine, the thing that you find, like everywhere I look in this game, is Star Wars. Like that's kind of the reward. Like everywhere I go, I'm like, oh man.
Well,
cool. like just walking through these spaces is kind of a reward.
Yeah, the just the vibe of all of the different maps and the areas and the places that you go is pretty immaculate. Like,
yeah,
they're pretty great. You go through like what I think is probably the best video game representation of Mos Eisley I've ever seen. Like, it feels like you're kind of just walking through the actual town,
That's cool, but like,
yeah, I don't know, like,
Mos Eisley. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you go to like 4 different planets, I think.
Just tell me all those not Hoth.
Tashara, no, it's Tashara, Tatooine, Kijimi, what is it?
Don't forget Canto Bight.
Akima?
Even though that's not really the same. Yeah, you
start on Canto Bight, yeah. But like a different part of Canto Bight. I don't know. Like, they're all like, especially the cities and the towns that you go to, they're great. They're awesome.
They just feel alive.
They're so cool. They're so cool, and it's like so fun. Like just going around doing like mini games and shit. Like I've gotten really into playing Sabacc. Like, I've gotten really good at cheating at Sabacc. So I'm making a lot of money.
Some of us don't have to cheat, Chris.
Yeah, I don't have to cheat, but I make more money when I do.
I hear this game gets better as you go, like, and it ends really well.
Oh,
have y'all heard that?
It does. It feels like it has opened up a lot. Like, I was more focused on how frustrated I was with like the speeder. Like, I did not like the way the speeder handled when I first got it. And yeah, I mean, I think once you kind of, I don't know, like Zero Skies and Jazz being a little cheeky about what I was saying earlier and saying, from what I'm hearing from Crispy is that you can play a game wrong. And
Zero Skies be cheeky? Come on.
Yeah, and I mean, like, to a certain extent, like, yeah, I don't know, like, yeah. I feel like
I'm on Crispy's
like,
side on this one.
like,
sometimes it's not about right or wrong, but there are sometimes you can play a game where it's like way more fun than the people who are resetting after every failed like stealth attempt or whatever because they want perfect stealth or whatever.
Yeah.
I've played those kinds of games.
You mean the reason why I can't play and enjoy Hitman?
I mean, honestly, yeah.
I think
admit though that's a personal like tick that I have. I just can't like I realize I'm not the norm.
I think that there's. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay for a game to have like a specific vibe, a specific idiom that it's going for. And, you know, playing to or against that, your mileage may vary. I don't know. Like, I don't think that there's like a huge barrier to chafing against stealth in this game. There are definitely missions where, like, it's probably impossible to get through it without doing any stealth. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it kind of is a stealth game. It kind of maybe is a stealth game. I don't know. Because it's called Star Wars and it's an open world game and has blasters, you know, people just kind of want it to be Grand Theft Auto. Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
Let's be real, though. She's getting a lightsaber in the sequel. Am I right?
No, please, for the love of God.
Don't answer that.
The like lock picking.
Oh man, I struggle with this one though.
Dude, okay, yeah. One of the reviews I read was from Paul Tassi, the guy from Forbes who covers like live service games, like Destiny and stuff like that. He was in his review of this game was saying that the lock picking was the worst lock picking minigame he'd ever seen, and he immediately shut off the lock picking game and just made it so that they're autocomplete.
Oh, he didn't.
That's one of the.
He didn't know how to do it, right?
He has no rhythm.
I feel like it's like, oh, that's embarrassing, man. You just told the whole world you have no rhythm because that's all it is. It's just like a.
I think
beat,
some people. I heard this described
like,
on a podcast, in that they don't understand the mechanics or something. They don't understand that like you're supposed to do it to both of the lights. I don't actually know the details of the mechanic, but I've heard it described. Oh, you're actually supposed to be doing it this way, and then the other person was like, "Holy shit!"
It gives you a series of lights, and
it's not
time the triggers with those, but the beat or the rhythm or the pattern always changes.
And it's like I don't even really look at the lights. I look at the actual like lock mechanism because there's a part of the lock that is like click, 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 like against another part, and you're just supposed to do it in time with that.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's just
a little rhythm
either. It's just a little rhythm.
I'm terrible at that kind of shit. Space Channel 5, I've never been able to get past like the second fucking level.
It's just a little rhythm thing, and it's usually like 3 beats you have to hit, and then it opens
but also,
it up. And it doesn't auto fail. Like you can just turn it off if that's what you want to do for sure.
Do it.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, what did this get? 80 something?
No, it's like a 76.
This got 76.
Yep.
That's
still like a Rise of the Ronin, man. No one's down for janky.
I think that got sandbagged a little.
Let me tell you. First of all, Crispy,
this is if Space Marine's an 82, this is a fucking 82.
Here we fucking go.
Look,
Space Marine got a bump because
Space Marine got a bump. The conspiracy.
Well, I know how you feel, Crispy, because Days Gone. Let's see, what is Days Gone? Days Gone
every
has...
episode,
just hitting all the highlights.
You're like, it's okay to like bad games. Days Gone.
Days Gone's got a 72, and in my book, that's like an 88, 89.
I do also like this thing, too, where it's like anytime you're doing like a mission or a job for somebody, usually your partner will like hit you up and be like, hey, by the way, that data you just stole, you can sell it to the person who hired us to do this, or you can sell it to their enemies and make more money. And like, you just have all these opportunities to like
Fuck people over.
Fuck people over, yeah, and like they're all a bunch of scumbags. Like you don't like any of them, so it's like it doesn't fucking matter. Like every single boss you meet in this game, like crime boss you meet in this game, is like a piece of shit. So you're just like, whatever, sure. Like okay,
Damn it!
Fuck all them.
It's a little
hoes.
late for this response, but it's a bad week to bring up Days Gone, Nick.
Oh no! It's not a bad week to bring up. It's never a bad week to bring up Days Gone. Fuck that guy. Even. But
the only person on the planet, probably. How many bots are in Astrobot? He's the one who's like, how dare they? How dare they turn Deacon St. John into a robot?
No, I mean,
see, I don't even know what he's so pissed about.
I don't even know what
he's so pissed about. He's just an asshat. I mean, he's the kind of person who just wants to be an asshat. That's all.
I mean, really, nobody can see like an argument to be made there. Is it just because we like Astrobot? Like,
I mean, look, we don't side with him for many reasons, but he's also just wrong.
He has always, even as a huge fan of Days Gone, even
your franchise crashes and burns. Sony won't make another one, but they'll.
No, actually, it came out that Sony been shelved. Came out because of this guy this week.
Yeah,
that
they
it wasn't Sony's decision.
They decided not to make another one because of this guy.
Probably, I think probably.
Even if they had the opportunity to make it without his involvement,
they weren't even going to pitch it to Sony.
It sounds like this guy was a real asshole.
I mean,
he was required to take anger management classes because he was such a fucking asshole.
Yeah. Look. Even since he still worked at Bid Studio and I was already in love with Days Gone and I was actively playing Days Gone, even then, that guy rubbed me the wrong way. Just hearing him talk and he's always kind of been weird.
Yeah. I just.
But like, still,
he doesn't. Yeah,
my
he's
heart
mad
filled
just
with joy when I found Deacon
wants
St. John in Astrobot.
He wants to be mad because he's not at Sony anymore. That's not his franchise anymore. It's definitely like a bitch eating chicken kind of energy.
I did see somebody
saying is.
I did see somebody describe Astrobot. He's like, I'm loving Astrobot, but I'm really struggling not to just see it as a graveyard of Sony IP, and I'm like, well, that's a depressing way of looking at it because like, but it's kind of true.
But like, isn't there anybody out there like who made up Infamous? Like, is that person going like, oh, cool, you fucking dropped our franchise, but you'll still fucking cash in on our character we made.
Quote unquote, did they drop it? They made 3 games.
3.5
as far
games.
3.5 games. Wait, 3.5.
Yeah, I got a standalone expansion for the second game. The vampire one, you remember that?
That character.
Not the vampire one,
the third one.
First Light.
Oh, yeah, First Light. Yeah, sorry.
The character from Last Light. The character from Last Light is in Astrobot. Like, so many cuts, so many deep cuts.
Oh, I love her.
I mean, I don't need. I'm just saying,
Julie?
deep cuts, man. Lots of deep cuts.
Deep cuts. Look, I was actually thinking about Infamous like a week ago, going, you know what? I feel like a new Infamous would kind of slap. I don't know.
Dude, I'm not
even like a huge Infamous fan. I like the first one, I guess.
A new Infamous would be very interesting because it'd be a chance to go back and like revisit what is truly very dated. Like, remember the way that guy looked? Like his whole fucking vibe, very like
changed in the second one.
2010s kind of.
Festival of Blood. I never played, and I want to play it because I'm in a Halloweeny mood. But there's no easy way to play that anymore. You can't play it.
That's such a good DLC.
But this, like, man, how come nobody was ever like, yeah, let's do a third-person vampire action game where you can just like fly around as a swarm of bats? Because that was the coolest part of.
That's pretty sick. It was pretty sick.
It was turning into bats. It doesn't matter. Star Wars Outlaws is pretty cool, but
I'm really happy you're enjoying it, Crispy.
This is a year when pretty cool just ain't gonna cut it, I guess. So, whatever.
Hey, it can be an 80. It can be an 85 plus in your heart, and that's all that matters.
He's not wrong.
What's
All
the
that
last Star
matters-
Wars game you didn't like, though? I mean, let's be real here.
Shut the fuck up, Brad.
What
are
a
you
dick.
talking about? The
Well, you did
last
like
Star
the
Wars game I
Jedi games,
didn't like.
I'm just saying, people kind of have a different relationship with Star Wars these days. I feel like they're a little, like
It's
Marvel, right? They're like, you don't like Star Wars, and you're not
Yeah.
like that, and that's good. But that could be why people are kind of turning up their noses.
Let's be real. Star Wars.
That and they made her ugly on purpose.
Let's be real. Let's be real.
She's
as
a
much
woman.
as
She's a woman.
get her. No, look. Star Wars is an important franchise, but it has one of the most toxic fucking communities.
Yeah, because it's not a community. It's like 1 out of every 6 people in the planet. Like
That's true. That's a good way of looking at it.
Too ubiquitous to be a community.
It's a
Like
religion.
Ubiquitous
for some people.
software.
ubiquitous software. We tied it back.
Speaking of ubiquitous software, Peglin? I don't know. Does that make sense at all? I don't know. No.
I mean,
okay.
I could talk about Peglin. I don't have footage, unfortunately, because
Okay,
I've had a
you
hell of
don't
a
What
have
is
couple
with
days.
you? What is with you?
Oh,
you don't
you're
even have to
segueing me,
upload
Nick?
it anywhere. You just have it on your computer.
I don't know, Crispy. Were you not? Did you have more to say?
No,
I
I was
didn't
just
mean
gonna
to-
let the conversation peter out naturally with
We've been
dignity.
talking a lot about Star Wars.
I love Star Wars.
Hey, I finally watched the last episode of The Acolyte.
Oh.
So that was
After
a
it-
show.
After it was canceled.
I know, right? That's so disappointing too.
Yeah, I don't even know if I should finish it now. I was only like
Because
4
you
episodes
finish watching it and then you're like, oh, so this is just nothing. This show was nothing
Yeah.
then? Okay, cool.
One of the main actors
was
in
a
that
show
show
about
said
nothing.
it is. One of the main actors in that show has since come out and said that like it is his mission in life to film a second season of that show. I was like, I don't know what kind of power you think you have over this, but if you're gonna
maybe
try,
if you
more
didn't make
power
your
to
show
ya.
all about build up and connections to other things, then it could stand alone on its own without it being all sad and like confusing at the end. Just make
What
some
was
art
it?
for once.
It was.
Fuck
It
mine.
was.
Sorry.
But it was not
Watchmen
connected
was
to
really good.
anything, was it?
Well, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet because I have not. Look, we're gonna get dangerously close. I don't even know if spoilers matter for a thing that's been canceled now. But like,
I mean,
I read something and I'm like,
there's
okay,
there are like little post credit cameos and shit that are connected.
no. But like, isn't like the whole? We'll talk about this.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. But like, yeah, also because they didn't do anything with it within the confines of the season, it is now a show about nothing. Like,
wonderful. Well, maybe it'll get picked up again somehow, and weirder things have happened. I don't know. Anyways,
I mean, I'm good, but like, whatever.
Chris
Just do
Davis.
more Andor.
Yes,
This Andor season 2 is coming later this year.
Yeah,
it is.
Andor's great.
Let's
go watch Andor again. It's so good.
Andor is so good, and it's the second season will be its last, but it is second season of Andor, and that's exciting.
Only 2 seasons. Well,
Chris
hopefully this goes
Davis.
well. Yeah.
I don't sign petitions.
Heard you've been pegging.
I feel like he
He
needs to
starts
record
them.
Peglin footage and talk about it next week.
Okay. I mean, well,
The thing about Peglin is that it's not necessarily an easy game to record and be entertaining to a viewer.
You don't have to
Dude,
entertain with footage.
So much. I recorded so much Peglin footage when I talked about it on the show like a year and 2 years ago.
He did talk
Yeah,
about it.
and we were not entertained. No.
Just hit the record button. It's don't be like Nick, like, oh, I didn't get enough pegs on that shot, so the footage sucks. You're talking about the game. We just want a visual.
Okay.
There's nothing
All right.
about the footage that's worse than not having footage.
I promise you that in the next 24 hours I record footage and we'll be good to go for next week. How about that?
Well, I mean, it
Sounds
doesn't have
good.
to be in the next 24 hours, but you got 7 days.
Well, if I do it now,
Okay.
then I won't forget.
7 days to peg.
all right. So with that
I'm just
in
saying,
mind,
I like,
You
I like
pegging?
Peglin too. I just want to see
Brad,
Like
Yeah.
Megan too?
Bradley,
Really into pegging, huh?
no one can say the word pegging again for the rest of this episode.
Okay, that's fair.
Brad, do you have what can you
Peg
tell
little
about
Peglin in my
what can
little
you-
butthole.
What can you tell us about Fantasy Critic this week?
Oh, I gotta be honest with you. I feel like this isn't fair. This shit happened to me with Baldur's Gate last year, where no one thought it was going to be as high as it was. I didn't even think it was going to be as high as it was. Same shit with Astrobot. I knew it was going to be great. I didn't think it was going to get me like 10 extra.
The gamble was, of course, that you did it before it was announced. So you took the gamble, and
that was the thing. That was the thing. And this is the crazy part, right? I did that because I was on tilt after losing Balatro to Nolan, and I was pissed. So I was like, I got to find some shit. I bid on Astrobot on a rumor, which is why I won it. Because if we had waited till it got announced, then whoever had the most fucking money would have gotten it, which was certainly not me. But I was on tilt. The thing is, when I bid on this rumor, and of course nobody else bid on it because it was a fucking rumor, it was nothing substantial. And
I thought about it, but I didn't do it.
And I did like $1 or something. I don't even remember. It was like a couple bucks. The thing is, when I did that, I still have Mario. I needed my free drop for that. That's how much tilt I was on. Meaning that if this thing didn't exist, I would have been stuck with it because I needed my free drop for Mario. So I really was going, fuck it with this. So the fact that it paid off, it feels good. I didn't expect for it to pay off this much, though. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be like a 92 at best. Because I just didn't think Astrobot.
Now it's the highest rated game of the year.
Few games score that high. They really do, and it's almost always stuff like Zelda, Mario, GTA, stuff with like a certain level of prestige that is rare. I sort of felt that way about Baldur's Gate last year, but I guess if you think about it, Baldur's Gate as a name, D&D, even the Baldur's Gate games, they actually did score that high. Like Baldur's Gate 2 may even be scored higher than Baldur's Gate 3. So, but Astrobot, that VR game is like top 3 VR games of all time, up there with Half-Life Alyx and fucking Superhot or some shit. It absolutely, but even that was still like a 90 or whatever, right? Like,
and look,
this
crazy. I know what you mean when you say a certain level of prestige and you started name dropping like Zelda and Mario and stuff. And I know this is not the same thing, but I was going to mention it earlier. I was going to mention it earlier when we were talking about Astrobot, but like playing this game gives me extreme Super Mario Galaxy vibes. And I know that's not the same thing because prestige means like history or whatever, but like it's on that level.
Crazy. You're all crazy.
It's on that level. I mean, it's
not, is it?
It is absolutely,
it's woke. It's woke, isn't it?
It is absolutely
right.
Go. I mean, yeah.
It just feels
it deserves all the love it's gotten.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Okay, let me ask you this though. Do you guys feel like Astrobot is now like the guy? Like
the mascot
Sony PlayStation.
I mean, Sackboy's dead.
Obviously. Like obviously he hasn't been around as long as like Mario, but like it always felt like these games were like really cool conceptually, mechanically, but like Astrobot's just like this generically cute little like whatever, like it looks like a fucking toy or something.
I think it would be foolish for them to not position Astrobot
as it? Like that's part of why I feel so fucking crazy is like this new game came out and everyone's just like, oh, it's so great, like as if we all have this like deep seated love for our favorite Sony mascot, Astrobot.
But we played 3 Astrobot games now, Crispy.
That is true.
Did you even play that VR one? Oh, you
did.
The
VR one.
Look, VR. I think you're onto something, Crispy, because I think when the dust settles, they would be foolish to not try to position Astrobot as their official mascot because like it just makes so much sense. The entire
I can accept
game.
That he probably is going forward. It's just this week has made me feel like everyone. It's like everyone just like. Fucking 1984 me into thinking that like, oh, we've always been Astrobot fans. We love Astrobot.
I do think
he's like fucking Mickey Mouse in the video game world.
Everyone who owns a PS5 has probably tried Astrobot at least, well, except Chris Davis.
I think the only
I was waiting for it.
I think the only thing that they've been waiting for like the only thing preventing it from being looked upon as the official PlayStation mascot in the eyes of the masses is that Astrobot didn't have this like widely, I mean, I'm going to say this, don't jump on me, Brad, didn't have this like widely accessible full like title, right? Playroom felt very much like a tech demo, and VR and Rescue Mission was relegated to people who had VR headsets. Now you can walk into a store and see it on a shelf, and suddenly it just feels more real. It feels more important, I suppose.
It's like learning that the fucking guy giving out the Michelin stars is literally like the Michelin tire man. Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It is.
What?
And the first time you learn that, it's always like, why do people care then? Like, why are Michelin stars so important if it's just a tire man? Like,
are you serious?
That's not the
true.
point. Nick,
the Michelin guide is like
the star system to get people to drive more, to go to
the Michelin guide
farther away, so that they would wear out their tires more and buy more tires.
Nick, don't you understand that all awards and prestige in our society are just tools of capital? None of them mean anything. None of them carry any real honor. They're all just vectors of commerce, Nick.
You know that...
Yes, Crispy, thank you.
The thing about carrots improving your eyesight was just a myth invented during World War II because there was a surplus of carrots, right?
I have heard that before, yes.
Okay.
Can I just say real quick?
They lied about carrots?
They lied about carrots.
I just want you to know how Astrobot Rescue Mission on how long to beat as completionist of 13 hours, which is probably not that different than this game.
No, it's not.
A real ass.
Again, you had to have a VR headset to play it, which not a lot of people do. Can I just real quick, totally off topic here? I'm losing it every time Crispy leans back in his chair and fades into the background. I just see the word mournful jizz appear on the screen. I'm
sorry. Do you want me to change it back? I'm sorry.
No, it's great. It's great.
Can this actually be the mournful jizz show?
Sometimes I can see your face, but I can just see the words mournful jizz underneath it.
Can you lean back and then come back into the frame with just this creepy ass face there, Crispy?
Crispy, it looks like you got some mournful jizz on your chin there.
Oh my god. Okay. Anyways, what do you say we wrap up the show with the 4-player minute? Brad, would you care to start us off?
I'll start us off. What was I going to talk about? Crispy, start us off.
So
talk about mournful jizz.
Jizz whalers, right? So he was obviously playing off the word jazz. He was like, well, it's in space, so I'll call it jizz.
Sure, makes sense.
Yeah. And
the it's my mistake.
Star Wars is great. You know what I really like about Star Wars? It's one of those franchises that has a bunch of different colorful species of humanoid aliens walking around. It's like D&D or Star Trek or something, but every alien in Star Wars is just fuck ugly. There is not a pretty looking alien in the bunch. They're all this man is just a hairy dude with a giant spider head.
Twi'leks. Buy me a Coke.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but Twi'lek dudes are fucking ugly.
They are. They really
Gamorreans.
Gamorreans just Gamorreans are just Japanese orcs. They're just green pig people. So they're orcs.
I thought we were talking about
the Jizz whalers. The guy, I remember what species. Bith. They're called Bith. They got the big butt heads and the little anus mouth and the giant black eyes. Perfect. I like Rhodians. The little bat people, the Rhodians. Rhodians are great. Rhodians have really grown on me over the years, but they are fucking ugly. I remember reading an X-Wing novel where someone was this Imperial officer was chastising his subordinates because he noticed he had these little sucker hickeys all over his neck that he had gotten from an alien whorehouse. He was going to an alien brothel and had Rhodian sucker marks on him. That's how hard Star Wars used to go.
Which one, Crispy? There's so many of them. Which
one? Yeah. Which one exactly? I think
naked pictures on the internet. I can't believe that. Where?
The Grutas are weirdly attractive.
Wait, who? Which one?
Like Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Her hair looks like it's made of cotton candy. You kind of want to eat it.
Okay.
Rosario Dawson, are we talking about? Or are we talking about
both?
Oh,
You know what? I don't fucking care. I liked Ahsoka. Like,
no, I loved Ahsoka.
I thought that
I'm pumped for season 2 of Ahsoka.
Yeah, and we don't know that humans are humans. Oh, that's what I wanted to talk about. My 4-player minute is all of the wonderful like bits of 20th century Americana that Star Wars Outlaws adds to the Star Wars universe, because I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with Star Wars adding like just normal everyday like Western culture things into the Star Wars universe, but like just putting like little sci-fi bits on it to make it look sci-fi, right?
Example?
Like for instance, in the latest Skeleton Crew trailer, they were showing like full-on fucking suburbs, like kids riding on bicycles through suburbs of like houses on lots next to each other with like lawns. There was literally like an Ithorian with a lawnmower like mowing his lawn. Like,
what the
so
fuck?
great.
Wow.
So good. Love that. Star Wars Outlaws, I saw televisions. There were televisions. You can collect holodramas, which is something they've always talked about, and you always just kind of assume like, oh, holodrama is probably kind of like a TV show, right? But now you actually get to like listen to a holodrama and like see what it's like. And the holodrama is like an awful fucking sitcom that has a laugh track. It has like a live studio audience with a laugh track.
Yeah.
So Star Wars has laugh tracks.
Just the laugh track like aliens? Like, is it like aliens?
It just sounds like people, man. It just sounds like people.
Is it humanoid laughter or like alien
Yeah.
laughter?
I just hear a bunch of Rhodians and like laugh. That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, and like, okay, so televisions, we got the laugh track. There was something else, I can't remember what it was, but yeah, I'm always just on the lookout for little bits of like bullshit like that, you know? It's like including like potatoes and coffee in the Hobbits. It's like that's not really like a thing that would have made any sense geographically or temporally if you're trying to say that this is like a history of the world, but you know, it emulates a world that we, the audience, are used to.
Right.
I just think that's
cool.
fun.
I'm gonna be keeping my eyes peeled now once I dive back into Outlaws.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Also, it reminds me, I need to watch the Skeleton Crew trailer.
Coca-Cola.
I haven't watched it yet.
Coca-Cola is canon in Star Wars.
Really?
What?
Because Disney said that all of Galaxy's Edge is canon. So anything that they do in Galaxy's Edge is canon, and they sell in-universe Coca-Cola. They even have like an explanation of like where it comes from, and it's really fucking stupid. And they like with the addition of Coca-Cola, plastic also became canon to Star Wars, even though Star Wars already widely uses materials that are much better and similar to plastic, but they also have plastic.
Is the Starliner Hotel canon?
The ship is, yeah.
Okay.
The fucking, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, the ship and the Starline are canon.
Damn. Cool.
Gotta draw
all right, my 4-player minute starts now. I don't know. I think it's going to be about Monster Hunter and things.
Yeah.
Dang.
You know, there's a lot of really good stuff that came out of Gamescom. A lot of really exciting stuff. One of the major complaints was the frame rate, and I'm looking at this PS4 5 Pro. Of course, I'm not going to buy it, but knowing that there's going to be some bitch ass motherfuckers out there who are going to be playing that game with the silky smooth frame rate is going to hurt. It's going to hurt, especially this time.
Just play it on
What
PC.
about PC?
My PC is 7 years old, and that's over 7 years old, and I my PS5 is probably going to run it. I mean, it's going to run it better, at least. Well, it's in 4K.
I mean, here's a game plan for you, Brad. Just spend $6,000 on PC parts and pay it off over 3 or 4 years, and you'll be okay.
You're joking, but
when you can buy a mattress.
Yeah.
The thing is, PCs, like PC parts got so expensive that just the idea of it's not even like, can I afford that? It's more just like, I'm so opposed to the idea of spending like $600 on a fucking graphics card. It's just gross to me. Like to me, build a PC when you can get a, processor for $300 and a graphics card for $300 and it shouldn't be as expensive as it is. even for like a mid-range. It's gross.
A loaf of bread should be a nickel, and gum should be a penny.
No, it's not like that. It's all got inflated when Bitcoin and mining blew up, and it never went back down.
Mining fucked it. No, for sure.
Yeah, but Arizona iced tea stay the same price, so it's okay. There's some
gas station
pillars in the world.
Pause for a second. I just realized Crispy wasn't here last week. Does Crispy even know what the fuck we're alluding to when we keep talking about $6,000?
Oh my God. That's post-podcast conversation. That's a post-podcast conversation. There's too many questions. I still have more questions on that one. So yeah, it got me thinking about PC gaming, right? This pro shit and Monster Hunter. And it got me thinking about it. And it's like, I'm just really not. I'm at a place, like I had built my last PC before I had any children. They were pre-children. And it's not about money. It's more about like it's much harder to justify such a large purchase. It's hard to justify such a large purchase just for myself. I don't even use my computer that much. I literally only podcast on my computer. Most of my PC games I play on my Steam Deck, where you just stream to my Steam Deck. I'm almost never sitting in front of it, and it just feels like a waste of money. So now I'm at this weird place where I'm just going to be mad playing Monster Hunter, and it's not fair. It's not. That's
what we all want is Mad Brad on.
I hate this. I hate that shit, man. It's such a bummer. And I'm worried Blast Dash isn't going to be in this. Maybe the expansion. No underwater swimming. That's fine, but everything else looks fucking amazing. They're doing some crazy shit. I'm excited for Monster Hunter. I'm hoping. I think it might actually be early next year. Capcom's a little. I think we might get a date at TGS. It is very exciting. Really, that's it.
Cool.
Stay on Dragon Age. No, everyone's still mad at that game, but I've like almost completely come around on it. I'm excited about Dragon Age.
I think the tide will shift more dramatically when the game's actually in people's hands.
It's getting there. Like BioWare fans are definitely like, we still exist. We love Dragon Age 2, even if it's even if it's not as much as we love Mass Effect, but we're horny still, and Baldur's Gate didn't quench our horniness. We still want to fuck everything. I will say though, my fuck you for the week goes to the male Kunari that they made for that footage was
hideous,
awful looking. And again, this isn't about like me being harsh on the more cartoony art style, the Fortnite thing, whatever. I think it's been looking better. Some of the characters look great. But that character that they created was awful. And they've set the bar for like Kunari and multiple, since Dragon Age 2 and 3, a lot higher than whatever the fuck that was. I'd take Stin from Dragon Age Origins over that shit. He didn't even have horns.
Can you post a screenshot? I want to see it.
Oh my God. I'll post it in our meetings channel and y'all can look at it. It is bad.
I'm curious if I'm going to have the same reaction. Anyways.
That's all. Yeah. You usually are like pro face anytime I complain about faces.
Yeah, that's why I want to see it.
You cannot defend this. But yes.
We'll see. We'll see about that. All right. Nolan, 4-player minute?
I'm ready. My 4-player minutes are now. My hype is honestly just for more Astrobot. I've been really enjoying my time with it. I'm ready to play more. It's just been a busy week, and we didn't get a chance to play today, but definitely going to be playing some tomorrow. So definitely excited for that. My other hype is tied with a sweat. We keep talking about doing a game night, and we keep not doing one.
That's true.
But I would be very hyped for us to fucking do one.
Maybe next week will be a good week because I can't.
I'm down for some spooky shit. Can we do some spooky shit?
Sure. I'm down.
Spooky season. I mean, maybe we can wait till October, but I'm down. Let's do Core Keeper or something. Something on Game Pass. The thing is, I think Abiotic Factor would have been great, but that's a game that everyone has to buy, and that's
true.
We'll have this I agree with you, Nolan. Maybe we can do it next week. I mean, like I said, I can't do a podcast on our normal night, so maybe just a thought. Maybe next week.
By the way. Well, it's just a thought that I'm going to be bringing up every week until we do one.
Cool.
Well, let's do one next week. Any games coming out?
We'll talk about it after the show, maybe. My thank you this week is going to go to everyone who reached out after the podcast last week, congratulating me and Bernadette. A couple people DM'd me privately, telling me some of their own stories and with kids and stuff. And so, yeah, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Excited, worried, hyped, all that stuff. Which, yeah, obviously goes into, with a kid on the way, obviously going to have a little less time for gaming. Already, like I said, there are 1,000 things in my house I have not done since we moved in. That's like, oh, we'll have time to do that later. We'll get to that later. And all of a sudden,
the clock is officially ticking.
Yeah, there's a huge countdown. So I've been doing dozens and dozens of things, and then my own fault. Like, we ended up buying a new fridge a while back. I think I talked about it on the show because our old one was having some issues with the ice maker. Fridge itself still works, and so I'm like, let me throw it in the basement. So we'll have a basement fridge. I can be a basement fridge family for once in my life. And then somewhere to keep all my extra drinks. Though. So I love stairs. I go up and down my stairs all the time. I do it on purpose. Like Bernadette's like, you have a mini fridge in your room. How come you don't use it? And I'm like, because I like going downstairs. Back when I was, rambling now.
How many stairs are you going to be climbing tomorrow, Nolan? It's 9/11. Never mind. Continue.
Jesus Christ, Brad. What the?
No, it's a thing they do every year here in Austin.
What the fuck, Brad?
Without
fucking morons.
Without context, that's weird, Brad. I was not aware that was a thing. You could have led me.
You climb flights of stairs on 9/11 in honor of.
It's still weird.
I have personally
never Austin thing. It's an Austin thing. Do they do it in other cities?
I've never heard of that before.
Well, you know what?
I think this is one of those situations where Brad had a dream and he thought it was real.
It's not
like
no, they totally do it.
As a large man, I don't climb stairs, but for like 20 fucking years in Austin, they do this thing where you climb like 110 flights of stairs on 9/11 downtown.
I lived here all my life. I've never heard of this.
That sounds
regardless.
Well, look it up.
That does
Maybe
sound.
we're just too fucking out of shape to know about that. Chris Davis and Krispy.
Like the Jenga 9/11 commemorative 2-pack.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, moving on back to other things. I wanted to keep. I drink. Some flavored waters and other things that I often forget to replenish in my fridge, and then end up having no cold drinks. I'm like, if I could, keep my drinks in the downstairs fridge, I'd always have some cold drinks or whatever. So anyway, move the fridge down there. The problem is I don't have an outlet that will work. It needs a dedicated outlet, obviously. So I finally get an electrician to come. But I was dumb. I left the fridge open for like a month and a half. And then like a few weeks before the electrician came, I was like, I can probably close it, right? Like, then you'd be open. Well, that's very wrong. Electrician comes, hooks it up, and it's just like filled with mold. And I'm like, fan-fucking-tastic. And so, hey, well, you know what? It finally gave me the excuse to buy the steam cleaner I've been meaning to buy. So I literally spent like 2 days like steam cleaning the entire fridge. And ironically, it's now cleaner than it was before we even moved it to the basement. But still, it's just like one of those things where that was not something I expected to have to deal with. But yeah,
sometimes adulting goes hard.
Yeah, life happens. And it's funny, I Googled it and I was like, how long do you need to leave a fridge open before you close it? And everything's like, never close it once you've used it. Is basically the answer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who are we on? Chris Davis.
Wow,
it is your turn.
Another nightmare story for homeowners like me that are. Oh God.
Oh no.
I didn't need to hear that story. Thank you, Nolan.
Yeah, welcome to hell, bitch.
Yeah,
welcome to hell.
Yeah, between that and Brad's AC going out, yeah, it's just I want to sleep well tonight. Great.
I'm sorry. In our meeting channel, Chris Davis keeps posting pictures of like progress of his house being built, and I laughed so fucking hard because he posted a shot. And Krispy posted a GIF of just like a single house on no,
it's the house from Arrested Development.
That's Arrested Development.
It was the model home from Sudden Valley.
I mean, I try to be careful how I take these and post these pictures because I don't want to actually dox myself a fucking gin.
Yeah. To us, you don't want us to know.
No, I don't trust Discord.
That dude who does the map finder or whatever, he could find out where you are.
GeoGuessr?
GeoGuessr guy.
Oh, you could take a picture directly of the sky with no geo stats on it, and he'd figure it out within like 5 hours.
I took a picture of my balls, and he found me in 10 minutes.
Yeah,
true. Then he showed up to jostle them.
Yeah, it's something.
Oh, okay, Chris Davis.
Like, hey, have you heard of Peglin?
Yeah, I guess my thing right now is that I guess what got delivered yesterday? My garage door opener. So
Your
I get to hold
mattress.
on to that for next 3 months. My builder sent me pictures, which I posted one of yesterday to y'all. The exterior is drywalled. The windows are in. They have the brick. Like, they've got the pre-plumbing in, and they've got the pre-electricity mapped out. So, like...
You might as well go sleep in it tonight.
I'm terrified. They actually gave me a potential closing date. And I just, like... Now it's getting fucking real. And it's haunting me.
Hey, Chris Davis, I'm assuming you're having someone install that garage door opener, right?
I want to do it with my father.
Okay. I would check, just as just an FYI. I don't know if it was like that here, but I know when my house in Texas, my garage door was installed by a company, and they told me if I installed the garage door opener myself, the warranty on the door is void unless I go through them. So just double check to make sure that's not a thing.
I don't think that's the case with my builder. They just had only like 3 models of Genie garage door openers that I did not like, so I just decided to save the money.
Well, like I said, it wasn't my builder. It was my builder contracted a garage door installation company, and that company warranted the door for 10 years unless you installed your own garage door opener. Then the warranty is void. So just FYI, maybe double check.
I'll look into
I'm
it.
just trying to make sure you're safe.
Can I just point out, like earlier tonight at like 6 o'clock or something, Brad made a comment in our meeting channel that said something like me at 11 o'clock during the homeowners discussion. It was like, it's literally 11, like 4 minutes to 11 right now, and I look up at Brad and he has this like blank stare on his face.
Is this 4-player minute partially a reaction to Brad's sass there? Who can tell?
I'm just like, the timing.
I don't think it was.
Timing.
I think you've been waiting 7 days to talk about your house progress. That's fine, dude. It's fine.
This is your minute. You can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, and I'll spare you by not talking about mattresses this week.
We're after the recording.
There is a trend in the
Krispy, at least.
There was a trend in our feedback and discussion channel where people just started posting the $6,000 over and over and over.
It's not even the price. It's that he was pitched a $12,000 mattress, and he goes, "I'm no sucker. I'll get the $6,000 one."
No, it wasn't $12,000. It was $15,000.
Does that come with the undercoat? Can you get that on the mattress?
Yes, to the clear undercoat.
The clear coat.
I just want to point out, Slopdog made a really funny comment. He said, "Intentional or not, Chris's whole 'I'm building a house' mode is a bit hilarious. To go from I didn't buy tactical breach wizards because it was $6.
This is what I'm saying.
That's why he didn't buy tactical breach wizards, because he already spent that money.
This is the conversations I had with Malia when we were like, let's buy a house, and like, well, how do we pay for a house? The joke is we'll just cancel Netflix. Boom. We could buy a house now.
Problem solved.
He said, I can't wait for more updates, but how Chris has been reduced to eating crackers and water while the fluted marble tiles are being imported from Venice.
Nice.
That's kind of the vibe you're giving off, Chris Davis. I'm just saying.
Oh my god.
I think there was another comment that I'd actually attempted to buy the entire city of Austin. Like,
this is what I was talking about when you purchased Alone in the Dark earlier this year, because you were already talking about, I'm saving for this house, but then you buy Alone in the Dark, the game that everyone knew was going to be mid, and you had no attachment to the series.
I bought Alone in the Dark before I was house hunting.
That is not true.
You bought the Metal Gear Delta collection after you were building your house.
Nolan is factually correct. Yes. because I'm a slut.
Nolan's got receipts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man.
Well, I know that because I don't have receipts because I wasn't able to buy one.
That's very touche.
Crispy, why do you got to post my house like that? Why you got to do that, man? So mean. Anyway,
anything else you want to?
I'll Nick, it's your turn. I'm done. Okay. Physically and mentally tonight.
We're almost there. Look, my 4-player minute is this. It is. It's been a while since I've taken a staycation, right? And that's kind of what I'm in the midst of right now. It feels weird. I'm just like, every day this week, just get up, start playing games. I've played so much Black Myth Wukong, so much Astrobot. Man, it's been nice.
You gonna do a Baldur's Gate day? Like a whole day dedicated to Baldur's Gate 3?
If I get through all the stuff that I want to get through this week, including Space Marine 2 and Hollow Body and Star Wars Outlaws, then yeah, I'll carve out some time.
What class is your character in Baldur's Gate? I forgot. It's been so long.
Fucking no. It's got a sword in it. He already forgot.
It's been a while.
No, Nick forgot.
Are
you a bard?
Actually.
No, not a bard.
Are you a fighter?
No, not a fighter.
Are you a paladin?
No.
Are you a rogue?
No.
Are you a fighter?
Are you
a monk?
Are you a warlock?
We're running out of classes.
Can I finish my 4-player minute?
What race are you?
Chat, I would like
to ask people what race they are.
Since they just released that patch that adds official mod support, people should just start tweeting, various mods you should install, Nick.
Look, I'm just saying, I'm having a wonderful, relaxing week, and I'm playing lots of video games, which I feel like I haven't really been able to do that. Just have so much concentrated gaming time in one session, which is nice, or one period of time, which is great. Black Myth Wukong continues to blow my fucking mind. That wait, what?
Is it going to be like respected as like you're going to go goblin mode on games this week? I mean, next week, or like Robin is not allowed to like interrupt or I mean, like how I'm saying, how crazy is this?
What do you mean? I mean, I just took Monday through Friday off, and I don't have any.
That's what I'm saying. But like, are you going to be like, oh, let's go out and just chill on the town? I mean, how dedicated is this time to playing video games?
I mean, it's just kind of my like fallback when I don't have plans. So, which is kind of what I was.
Are you still making lots of plans for this week? Is Robin taking any time off? Is it literally just you?
She doesn't have time off right now, which is the whole thing. We can't talk about right here.
I'm just curious if like
we literally can't take a vacation together right now, and I have to burn my vacation before the end of the year. I don't have to, but I'm going to.
Like calendar year or fiscal year?
Okay, Chris Davis.
Okay, that's splitting hairs. That's splitting hairs. The point is, we can't take a real honest to God vacation together right now, and I have a bunch of vacation time, so I was like, this is a crazy month that I could use a week to just kind of catch up on stuff, so that's what I'm doing.
I just wanted to know how gross you were gonna get. Like,
it's pretty gross.
Showers.
No. I'm still showering twice a day. I'm just
twice a day.
Twice a day.
We're not ready for that conversation. Let's end this podcast. We don't have time.
We're still water restrictions, Nick. Calm down.
What? Okay. Y'all just so distracting. Look, Black Myth Wukong. I feel kind of the way Krispy feels about Star Wars Outlaws, about Black Myth Wukong. That game is still. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and keeps kind of blowing my mind consistently. And I still got a long way to go. There's so much game here, and none of it feels recycled. Just like every environment in that game feels handcrafted and fun to explore. Enemy types are engaging. Boss fights are so much fun. It's fucking beautiful. The only thing I just can't wrap my head around is why the fuck they didn't put a map in the game. It doesn't make any sense because it's so big. It's so big, and it's so hard to figure out where to go in some cases, or like especially when you're trying to find.
I hate to break it to you, but when there's an illusion filled with a lot of invisible walls, if you start mapping that out,
but
even then, makes it look cheap.
It's not even that. It's not filled with invisible walls. It is like a flat open world, and one that would benefit from.
I'm talking about Wukong.
Oh, I was talking about Star Wars. Okay, but I was saying I do wish there was a map in Star Wars.
There's no map in Star Wars either.
There's a map menu that you can open up and look around, but there's no like mini map while you're driving, trying to figure out where you're going. Like,
Wukong doesn't even have a map you can open up in a menu. It just there's no map. It's like playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something, and just not being able to.
Those don't have maps either.
Yeah, I was about to say those have maps.
No.
What the fuck? Okay,
yeah, but those games are meticulously designed. You know,
this is meticulous. This game is meticulously designed. Like I feel like a lot of people are probably underestimating how much is actually designed and handcrafted. Like there are so many hidden paths and so many just diversions. I missed a whole hidden quest line because I took a right instead of a left, and then I didn't find out about it until like 2 chapters later, and then I was like, why the fuck can I do this? Like, I'm struggling on this boss. And they're like, well, you'd have a lot easier time if you went and did this quest. And I was like, what quest is that? And I looked it up and I was like, what is this? And I had to go back and explore an entirely different area I didn't even know I missed. Like, it's just, there's a lot. But it's all good, man. I'm enjoying this game so much. So yeah, that's it. That's my 4-player minute. Final thought, whatever. We've reached the end of our show. We made it. Guys, thank you so much. We did it. Yay. Maybe next week will be a game night. We're not entirely sure. We'll keep everybody posted in
There's no big new games or anything, right? I think
we haven't talked about Space Marine 2 yet.
And we haven't talked about Peglin yet.
We haven't. Okay.
Yes, we have. We've talked about Peglin on multiple episodes of this show.
I mean, Space Marine 2 can probably wait another week. If y'all want to do a game night next week, I'm totally down. Anyway, the point is, we'll discuss. We'll keep everybody posted. We'll let everybody know in our Discord, which is where you should be hanging out in our at discord.gg/4player. That's the best place to be to keep in touch with us and the community. That's where you need to go. You can
there is a pretty racist game coming out next week.
The Plucky Squires next week.
Is that really out next week?
Yeah, we go.
Oh, it's on PlayStation.
Hollow Body is coming out this week. There is stuff to talk about, but it can, like I said, it can probably wait a week for discussion. Anyways,
Crispy, you gonna get on that Satisfactory, dog?
Well, I have been on it.
Oh, let's end the show. Bye.
Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week for game night or podcast or whatever. So, anyways,
bye.
Be good to each other. Play video games, and good night.
Bye.
Bye.